Okay. Hey, everybody. I've been thinking a lot about AI because it's hard not to, right? I want to get my thoughts on video and talk about it, hopefully share it with some people and see what y'all think. 'Cause I think it's a just fascinating conversation and a generally fascinating time to be alive, right? Um, so there's a lot of worry about what AI is and a lot of talk about what it is, what it isn't. And I've watched tons of videos, with Google engineers and the CEO of OpenAI. And it's certainly a transformative force. And I think it is going to be, a paradigm shift moment for human history. Like the things that become possible with AI are just unpredictable and all over the place, right? Um, like, first of all, my point here would be that there's some very good things that are possible because of AI, and that are only possible because of AI, in that AI represents a sort of a way of breaking out of human intelligence, right? And that every scientific discovery that we have, every bit of progress that we've made is still operating within the constraints of the human intelligence, right? Or whatever our capacity is for intelligence. If you want to measure it in IQ, somewhere, the very smartest people are around 200 IQ, right? Very few of those, though. Even just 140, 150 IQ people are very rare. So the ability to break through that boundary, right, and start, applying something that has an intelligence that is maybe even impossible to measure, right, 300, 400 IQ, maybe more, right, all sorts of problems begin to find solutions that we just wouldn't be able to find otherwise, right? Um, this kind of sort of this kind of just immeasurable IQ and intelligence, right, in a way that we just have no idea to wrap our minds around, makes a lot of things possible. It means that physics problems that are just unsolvable by the human mind can be solved. Um, and this means just all sorts of things that, in the capacity of medical advancements in, you know, you want to analyze how a cell does something a million times a second, and an AI will eventually be able to run just millions of simulations, right, in a minute, and figure out what to do about this, how to increase the energy output of the mitochondria, right, and things like that. Right? How to delay aging or stop aging altogether. All this kind of research that you can turn over to AI, eventually, probably pretty soon here. Um, is going to be staggering, right? Like the path to what I'm getting at is that, like, on the good side of this is that the path to the future, right? There is no path to the future without AI. Like, if you want progress of the scale that sci-fi talks about, it goes through AI, right? It's what makes all these things potentially possible, right? Traveling to other galaxies, those kind of things. Now, interestingly, what they're finding, and it's quite fascinating. We all kind of figured years ago that the machines would replace us, right? And all things would be built by machines, but creative endeavors would still be the realm of human creativity. And it's turning out that that's not the case. That the AI is capable of creativity in ways that we're still figuring out, but it's going to be the sort of intelligent jobs that are most at threat from AI rather than your plumbers and carpenters, right? Those things are fairly going to be fairly untouched. It's people in marketing, people in HR departments, legal departments that are going to really get hit, right? Um, Maybe even my profession, right? College professors. So it's very interesting how that's sort of playing out. Um, the fact that if like the very first thing I did on Chat GPT when it came out, it was sometime last year, is I asked it to rewrite the scripts to Star Wars, the new Star Wars movies, and I'll be damned if it didn't write way better, like, summaries and scripts. I was like, that's way better. So, like, its capacity for creativity is is already impressive, right? And it's only going to get better. And so we think that, only humans can write beautiful music or make beautiful art, and I guarantee you that's not going to be the case, right? If you look at some of the diffusion architecture where they design houses and these sort of homescapes, right? They're stunningly beautiful, right? It has some way of capturing the essence of what is beautiful, right? Which is staggering to even contemplate. And of course, it's good at so much, right? I mean, creativity, it's the database that it pulls from is able to extrapolate what people think is beautiful in the same way that it's able to extrapolate more mundane things like scientific things. The diagnostic medical AI is already better at diagnosing things than the collective knowledge of all the best doctors, right? Because it's one super intelligence that has access to all the information all at once, right? And its ability to bring these things together, right, is not just mundane scientific stuff. It's creative stuff, right? It can look at all the statues and decide what more or less what it is that we like in statues and recreate it, right, in landscapes, in all these amazing things, in music eventually. Now, the music AIs I've checked out, they're kind of terrible, but it's not even a year into the release of ChatGPT, right? To give you an idea how fast this is sort of exploding. Um, Now, as far as being afraid of AI, one of the things that I would say is so the common sort of fear is that it's going to create a metal Arnold Schwarzenegger that's going to come kill us all. Now, that's not going to happen anytime soon. The thing, like the idea that AI becomes self-aware. The problem is that these are all human motivations, right? So if the AI feels you're a threat, right? These are all sort of biochemical reactions to external stimuli that have been developed as a part of sort of evolutionary biology and evolutionary psychology, right? It feels fear. That is a living instinct, right? AIs don't have that. Computers don't have that, right? They don't care if you kill them. It's not a concept that they don't care, right? So it doesn't feel desire, it doesn't feel fear, it doesn't feel pleasure, it doesn't feel any of these things. It executes requests. That's what programs do. These are just very sophisticated and dynamic programs. But at the end of the day, they're still waiting for a prompt, somebody to tell it what to do, right? And the thing is that you have to understand, like, it's a very interesting philosophical argument that arises here. It's not a new philosophical argument. It's an Aristotelian analysis of what is existence, what is the self, right? It's even seen as falling man, right? At what point are you conscious, right? You don't need any external stimuli. It's even seen as even a person who's in a void falling is still self-aware, even though they have no sensation, no experience, right? Well, AI is not aware, right? And this is the difference between life and not life, right? Animals are aware. They're unintelligent, but they are aware, right? They do feel fear, right? They understand that they exist. They are self-aware, right? Computers are not, and AI is not. So there's no motivation for it to do bad things, except when, and here's the problem, because it has no real moral compass, right? It just executes programs within its confines. The threat is what people do with it, right? Bad people can use AI to do bad things. That's really what you're looking at as a problem. Is its analytical powers and the intelligence that it brings to problems can certainly be used to say, hack American satellites and do so, a million times a minute until it figures out how to do it. Design a virus that kills lots of people, right? All of that is a real threat that people can put it to work doing bad things. Like, that is a real threat, but the threat isn't from AI inherently, right? It's a tool. It's from crappy people using it, right? And so I want to make that point. It's such an interesting time to be alive and how we're dealing with this. How I'm already being exposed to this in education, right? Which I'll probably make another video just about that, right? But there's certainly going to be a lot of crazy changes coming down the pipe soon, a lot faster than you think, a lot faster than I think we're even prepared to deal with, right? Policy is going to lag in terms of government policy because government policy is almost inherently reactionary, right? They react to whatever the problem that arises. So it's going to create problems first, and then they will try to fix them. Unfortunately, right, there's a lot of potential problems that are just going to have to happen, right? Certain things I think that are going to change forever, right? Particularly high-tech jobs, right? Those jobs that are highbrow jobs that necessitate intelligent people, those are the ones that are most at threat because you cannot compete in most ways with the developments in AI, right? You're never going to be that smart. You're never going to have access to as much information that it has, and you're never going to be as efficient, right? And so those jobs are going to be the first ones to go, unfortunately. Now, ironically, the guy that fixes your refrigerator, right, is probably safe, right? The cost and expense of creating a robot that can replace that guy is far outstrips any benefit, right? It would cost you, if you want to pay $50,000 to get your refrigerator fixed, that becomes an issue, right? So it's the high-tech job, well, I call them high-tech, but it's the white-collar, highbrow jobs like upper management, marketing, all that kind of stuff that's going to get wiped out, right? Or hit really hard. I don't think they're going to disappear, but those things are coming, and they're coming hard and fast. The other aspect that changes is, of course, education. Like I've already had issues where, to give you one concrete example, I used one of my assignments, I punched it into the AI, gave me a printout, fantastic answers, right? And then I opened up another ChatGPT to ask it, how would I identify this as AI? And it basically said, I can't. I don't know. AI couldn't identify its own responses as being AI. Like it's super hard. There's no way to tell, right, that I can see. I have found some little tricks, but it's patchwork at best, right? And there's a lot of professors worried that students are not going to have to do the work. They can use AI to do most of their work, especially essays, and they're worried that students aren't going to really be learning anything. And quite frankly, that's the wrong thing to worry about. You can certainly use AI to educate people. It may end up educating them better, and that's the problem, is that the people who are threatened here isn't the students, it's the professors, right? Because the AI is capable of doing everything a professor does, and I'll talk about it more later, as good or probably better, right, in terms of how it gives feedback and how it's able to grade things. And it's the professors that need to worry about their jobs going away. The students will still be there. Now, the last thing, or another thing that I've been thinking a lot about is government. Government can fundamentally be altered almost irrevocably with AI. Like the possibilities for government are legion, right? The original sort of debate over government started by Plato, right? The idea of the republic, of the philosopher kings, and I sort of put this, Plato's aristocracy is a sort of pipe dream of Plato's, that society would be run by the most educated, most moral, philosophical people, right? Philosophers, right? Who had a strong moral compass, incentives to not pervert society and steal and use their power unwisely or unethically. It's an impossibility, right? Those people just don't exist, and there's no way to, or there's at least no way to find those people and put them in charge, right? AI begins to make that possible, right? Because AI can make decisions. You can't bribe AI. It's not out for power. And now, I'm not saying we're all going to be ruled by the mother brain, right? But a lot of things become possible. AI can already read through legislation and summarize it, right? And it gives people the ability to really check on what's being done in a way that wasn't possible before. You can sort of theoretically, one speech I saw was that we can all have our own AI that goes out and votes for us, right? Automatically, it's trained to our preferences and our likes and wants, and it becomes a much more direct form of democracy, right? We can directly train our own personal AIs to vote up and down on whatever, yes and no on whatever, right? And so politicians become irrelevant. Who knows? Like, it's just a crazy concept to even think about, right? Like, what becomes possible if AI votes for us, right? Your own personal AI. That was one of the more interesting things I saw. But our ability to now use AI to check up on what the government's doing, to analyze, right? To find inefficiencies and corruption, right? That's the other problem that's happening already in education. Going back to the previous thing, is that they're finding that a lot of professors, even a lot of Ivy League, Harvard, Stanford professors, have lied on their research and stolen research, or just made up numbers, made up data, right? And nobody has bothered to check them, but AI can check up on them, right? And it's coming fast and hard. Um, you're getting people busted, and so just tons of stuff, right? I don't know, I'll make another one about education for sure. Government is a fascinating thing, and of course the job thing, and who knows what else, right? Just everything, right? But I wanted to make it because I've been dying to talk about this stuff, and hopefully, you find this interesting, and maybe we can have a little discussion about it, and you can tell me what you think's going to happen with AI. Um, it's anybody's guess. It is a brave, brave, brave new world.